delay now. Completely forgot about the delay. 30-second delay should be good enough.
30 seconds is definitely plenty. That's enough that somebody can play an ult, and the ult is completely gone. It does look like we have probably an honor pick for the save because they ran out of time.
Ran out of time for 2.
That happens pretty often in these custom games because one person is in charge of actually picking and saving.
You do feel the heat sometimes, that's for sure, and not being able to select fast enough.
Especially if you have a bad internet connection and so your latency is poor and it just goes from 15 seconds to 9 seconds.
Absolutely.
I've had that happen to me before.
It happens, that's for sure.
The worst is when you're loading in.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't let you load in, and then suddenly there's only 5 seconds left on the clock to get your defense started, and you just spawned in.
The rocket protect. Okay.
Rocket's really strong this season. You bounce a healing orb off the ground or a wall, and it gives extra healing. It actually
Rocket's
makes a lot of
by
sense.
far like probably one of my favorite healers in the game. Since a lot of his buffs and stuff like that, the fix of his ult and him actually becoming a support now, it's just he's much more useful in my opinion this season.
There was a TikToker that didn't even leave spawn and managed to climb all the way up to, I think, Grandmaster by just picking different spots while staying inside of spawn and healing.
That is impressive, that's for sure. All right.
Let's see, who do we want to spectate first? Probably Snicks. He's a flyer and will have good view of the map.
Let's see.
It does look like we have 2-2-2 for both teams. And it does look like Groot and Rocket are mirrored.
Ooh. I
It looks like
actually
Snicks
do
is to
not
see if anybody's
know.
flanking.
This is quite embarrassing. I do not know how to fucking switch any of the controls.
Use your function keys.
Oh, it's the function keys. That's why. That's weird. All right, let's get on
And
the
Snicks
Snicks
goes down.
gameplay.
But he gets revived, so he's going to take height and go back to farming ult. Needs to get with his
Groot
healers.
walled. Emma getting the first pick here on Kami. 2B is a pretty solid Emma player from what I've seen.
2B is an excellent Emma player.
Coming in clutch with a lot of the grabs, and he's honestly just very, very aware, which is really good as well when it comes to being an Emma player.
It looks like Snicks has ult, so that'll be very interesting to see. If they can get any picks, they can move in with that ult.
We have 4 ults ready on the Brooklyn side. Pew Pew going in with the ult to make space for their team.
This would be a really good spot for Iron Man to ult. I guess not now. Now they're winning that fight regardless. Excellent movement by Cloak and Bucky with that ult combo.
Absolutely. Kowon getting in there with the pentakill.
I think that Cloak's ult, just the fact that it does damage is really where it shines. Not even just the healing, but the fact that it helps you secure those kills a little bit easier, especially with Bucky.
Oh, absolutely.
Excellent. Snicks is using that wall to his advantage, using that cover. Gets shot out of the sky. Hawkeye's ult is really, really good because you don't have to worry about trying to aim.
Looks like it might be a possible team wipe here on
You captured more than
Nightmare.
half of the mission area. Keep going.
Gibby going in for the kill. Not
I think
able
that
to secure
Snicks
it
is
there,
holding on to
though.
ult for just a little bit too long.
Needed that boost.
He could try to get a possible flank here and try to get the healers. They are a little backed up from the team. Not too much though, but he could go for a huge flank here and definitely kill the healers and get them out of the picture.
Yeah, it's really hard to get around that Groot though.
Tommy going in with the ult. Kowan going
Huge,
in again.
huge ults.
Us against the world.
Getting one of the support ults out of the picture here. Tommy unfortunately falls here. Gibby getting a pick. Gibby getting a second, a third.
Wow.
Holy.
Triple shot.
You'll have to
Kowan
keep fighting
is
until we
trying
have a winner.
to touch here to bring it to overtime. I don't think they're gonna be able to make it though, even with Strange Portal. I think it was a little too late.
Yeah, that is a really confident Gibby on Hawkeye right now.
Brooklyn takes the first point though here, and going into map number 2. Or point
If you
number
press
2.
tab real quick, you can see the KD real quick. And right now, Gibby looks
He is
pretty
11 and
unstoppable at
1.
11 and 1. That's so impressive.
And going in with the 8 finals already. Kowan's
30 seconds
not too
before
far
you
behind
attack.
them.
Get ready.
He's got 6. He's got 6 at 9 and 3. So
Look at us. We practically match.
Yeah, Koam just has to work on efficiency because he actually has more damage than Gibby,
Oh, my costume just kinda
but
came with
a
my
couple less
powers.
final hits.
And I'm practically seething inside
The
about
I think a
battle
lot of
starts in
his
Taken-
finals have been
4,
from his
3,
ult, unfortunately.
2, 1.
I am Groot.
From the
All
Bucky
you need
ult.
to do is capture the mission
We are
area.
seeing some major
Got it?
swaps here, though. We have Snicks as Venom
In a
now.
situation as unpredictable as this, it's important to remain
Let's
flexible.
spectate some Tommy Phantom. See him on the Mr. Fantastic here.
It does look like he's targeting Hawkeye now.
He is on Kowan. Almost dies for it, because he got cut off from the team there.
Excellent Cloak and Dagger ult. Ooh, big Venom ult. Can you get the triple?
This is real firepower. Never miss.
Gonna get a Hawkeye ult here out of Gibby. Should be able to get a couple
you
picks
next
here.
Venom's gonna struggle here in a second. Gets behind the pillar, though. Excellent use of that pillar. And they take point. Good job, Nightmare. Hopefully they can maintain this momentum and take map 2.
There's somebody who needs a bullet.
Heads up, back guys.
I'm actually fairly impressed that they are playing the Groot Hawkeye, since Groot is using one of Hawkeye's counters with the walls. It always interests me to see people who make things like that work, because I've never understood it. Ooh! That ult
It
had
does
a
look
lot
like
of
we're getting-
potential.
Double cloak. That double cloak ult is really, really common in these big team fights.
Tommy might be able to get a... Who destroyed that ult? That was a good destroy there. Tommy couldn't get his ult off in time, unfortunately.
Capture progress has passed the halfway point.
Unfortunate. And they do win that team fight, and Brooklyn takes point. But Nightmare is already past 50%. If they just stay relaxed,
Well done.
wait till they have ult combo, they can easily win the next team fight. It does look like Venom is ulting a little early and is unable to secure the kills.
Never miss.
Does force a Hawkeye ult though, and gets the kill on Hawkeye. That is huge.
Battlefield ready again.
Really good ult here by Chico as it saves his team from actually dying here.
I do want to commend Octuyak's ult as well. Groot's ult forced their ults as counters.
That
And
there
was able to-
kind of a waste of an ult, unfortunately. So they are down a support ult. Brooklyn unfortunately using that rocket ult a little too late.
It does look like they are struggling during this team fight right now.
They are pretty even for ults right now. Both teams having 3 ults on each side. Nafam going in with the Punisher ult. See if he's able to get a pick here. Looks like he might not be able to.
Venom's mere presence causes Cloak to ult.
Or a dagger.
Big ult by Venom. Can he get the picks? It does look like his presence is able to help his team secure those
The
picks,
Star-Lord
and they
ult is
take point.
pretty big here. Owan getting 4.
Control lost.
That was definitely an exciting Venom ult. I want to watch 2B or not 2B for a little bit. Using that soul grab has definitely been super important here. Putting pressure on Venom almost immediately, getting the pick and killing Snicks.
Octu with the Groot ult here in the back line.
This is real.
Really,
a
really
team
good timing
knife,
on
too.
Rocket's ult there too.
Looks like map number 1 goes to Brooklyn though.
Yep, that is Brooklyn taking first man.
Epic victory. Big win.
And Gibby with the MVP. Got a 5-piece.
Gibby kind of coming in clutch there with 21 final hits there. Kowong's not too far behind them with 13. I mean, that is still a pretty big difference, unfortunately. But, I mean, overall, it still wasn't a bad map. There were a few questionable ults, which, I mean, understandable as, you know, you just feel the pressure in the game and you sometimes do panic ult, and that comes with the territory of sometimes being a support
Yep.
or just how it is. But that was a pretty good first game there.
Yeah, I think Snicks did really well. Almost 20k in damage, 6 final hits. And that's whole second half they were playing as tank. They did a pretty good job as tank.
They didn't do too bad. Seeing Snicks on tank lately has honestly amazed me quite a bit, as they are a DPS player. I give props to anybody who can play tank because I physically cannot play tank to save my life. So props to him, even though I know his Spidey gets banned almost 99% of the time. But he does.
Yeah, it seems like Nightmare's biggest struggle isn't necessarily winning any particular team fight. It's when they lose a team fight, they really, really struggle to come back from it. They don't really know how to counter that, how to counter the really strong defense. Whereas they took point. Nightmare took point.
They did take point, and then they
And-
couldn't defend it.
Right. And Brooklyn was able to push through their defense. It does look like we are getting ready to get into our next match.
All right.
They are picking their next map.
Poor Gibby getting he double banned.
I feel no sympathy for Gibby. They got double banned and they still popped off as Hawkeye.
All right. Let's see what we got here for map number 2. Hell's Heaven, in my opinion, is honestly a solid pick for a map. I definitely wouldn't have chosen it for my first map, though. I have a love-hate relationship with that map.
You know, also, if I were Nightmare, I would be banning Groot, to be honest.
They should. I agree. Just because, I mean, Groot's just honestly a really, really, really good solid tank, especially if the individual is a solid Groot player. I feel like it's easy to counter Groot, but at the same time, it can also be a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah, they were playing one of Groot's counters. Punisher is one of Groot's counters. The other Groot counter is Wolverine, and I didn't see anybody break out Wolverine,
I
but
did not see anybody bring out the Wolverine, in which if they did bring out the Wolverine, I feel like they might have had a slightly better chance, as you can literally just grab Groot and pull him into the rest of your team, and your team just can hardcore focus that individual
Mhm.
on the Groot. Those Wolverine grabs do come in clutch occasionally.
It is definitely really tricky though, because Wolverine is definitely a higher skill character. And if you don't have the practice needed to play Wolverine, then you're just gonna fold just as hard as you did at any other character.
Absolutely.
I'm a little surprised that with this new season we haven't seen more Penny.
Well, the new
Penny's got
season
some
doesn't
buffs.
technically come out until Friday. So after the weekend, I think there's a couple other matches. I think Odessa and New Orleans played this weekend, and they will be after their match will be after the new update, the new patches.
I wasn't even talking about the added mine layer. I was just talking about the ability to crit that came with season 2.
Personally, I feel Penny is not that strong of a tank until this new patch for Friday comes out. I feel like she might get used a little bit more, but as somebody who actually used to main Penny, back when I like first started playing the game, I feel that she has potential, but she's not strong compared to a lot of the other tanks, unfortunately.
I think as a second tank, she does really well, but she really shines in triple tank comp.
Yes, absolutely.
But I have even solo tanked as Penny, and I have solo tanked as Penny and gone, I think it was 33-3. It's all about taking those flanks, whether your team listens to you or not, and just planning in advance.
Absolutely.
Penny, so you play Groot, you're playing Marvel Rivals. You play Penny, you're playing chess. You gotta plan quite a bit more strategically and plan in advance, because the mines are what do your kills for you.
It totally makes sense. I mean, I've been running into Penny players a little bit more in comp overall, but she's still not super common, honestly.
No, and definitely the other reason why I like Penny is because Penny just doesn't get banned very often. So I can keep practicing and get my skill up as Penny.
Right.
Whereas Groot, Hulk, even Strange sometimes are banned relatively frequently. Mostly Groot and Hulk, just because Groot with the walls and Hulk with the team ups.
Right.
The other bans I've seen most often are Torch and Spider-Man. Granted, I'm not a grandmaster or anything, I'm just platinum, but in the platinum lobbies, those are the bans that I'm seeing.
I think one of the most common bans in comp currently is obviously the gamma. Especially if you're running dive. Gamma's just honestly one of the things that you do want to take out if you are running dive.
Oh yeah, I main Thor, and as soon as I see Hulk and Namor team up on the enemy team, I die a little.
Yep, absolutely. Gamma is something, honestly. It is like it's like you can counter it, but you just
You
half the
basically have to switch
time
characters.
you just never have anybody who wants to shoot the squids. So
Yep.
that's unfortunately just how Gamma is.
Sometimes they'll swap to DPS to make sure that the squids are shot
Yep.
when I see it, even though I'm a tank main.
It unfortunately is like that with the Gamma. All right, going into map number 2. They did learn their lesson here with leaving the Groot open for Octu. They are gonna get
Yeah.
that Groot out early.
And we still see the target ban on Spider-Man. I'm super happy that they banned Groot, though, to be honest. Because walls allow your DPS to really shine. And it does look like they're going to save Hawkeye, so Gibby is probably going to be playing Hawkeye even without the Groot.
Absolutely.
But getting rid of that Groot is huge.
It is one of Octu's best tanks, so it is honestly probably good that they did get it out quite early. Here they are going the Gamma, though. Chances are Brooklyn probably is going to ban either the Namor here or the Iron Man. They were smart. They would probably ban the Iron Man since Nyx is an Iron Man player.
Honestly, but banning either is really smart. But saving Hulk is huge because Hulk powers so much team up ability with so many different characters.
We shall see what they decide here. But if they I personally would be banning one of the two here.
Banning Cloak also makes sense. You're leaving their DPS wide open, but you're restricting the 2 roles that have only a few characters to choose from.
They did ban the Iron Man, like I thought they would. So chances are Nyx is probably going to be playing on the Venom this game.
Venom, Psylocke, Namor are all really good picks here as well.
He actually might be running the Psylocke here since they did protect Emma on the other side. So he is going to have that team up if they do leave that Psylocke open for him.
And it does look like we get a save on Bucky. Very interesting for their comp choice, probably to keep Ko Wong protected. I'm curious to see what they'll ban, though.
They could. Well, they already target banned the Cloak and Dagger. I was gonna say they could target ban a healer, but they actually already did. So we shall.
Yeah,
shall
I would
see.
almost target ban Rocket just because I always struggle to hit Rocket. And that would really restrict what characters they can pull out as healers.
They did ban the
Okay, we
Psylocke,
do see
so
the
all
bans
3
ban on
bans
Psylocke.
are for Nyx. So Nyx is going
The
to
right heroes
unfortunately
could
be
make
on
all
that
the
Venom this
difference.
game. Again. poor guy. He just never gets to play DPS, I feel like.
Yeah, I was able to play DPS for the first map of the first match, and already that's not going to be it.
It is not. It is not, unfortunately. We do have Nafam on the Bucky here, so that'll be interesting to see. We'll see how that goes. I don't think I've ever really seen him play Bucky too much. Besides like in scrims, or I've never seen him play it in like an actual match aspect of playing. So
People
definitely
think they
different
can see
mindset
right through
than
me.
scrims.
I bet you've heard that
I
before
think to
too,
start
Emma.
off with, I'm going to
Men
spectate Tommy. I saw a countdown on Octuyak. Did he die or something? Yeah, Octuyak died. That is
The battle
a
starts
little
in
funny, I'm
5,
not gonna lie.
He might have walked off the map by accident. I'm gonna start with Snicks here since I really didn't get to spectate him first match.
Here I thought the Second World War.
Alright, spectating Snicks. Let's see. Okay. He is taking a lot of damage here.
Taking a lot of damage, but kind of creating a lot of space for his team here. Pushing back the healers quite a ways. He is gonna
And targeting that Hawkeye. That is
iffy
huge.
out of the way. He almost gets head dinked, and he's down, unfortunately.
Yeah, they need to control that health pack that's on the left of that road there.
help, please.
Gibby is pushing Nightmare all the way back to their spawn here, putting a lot of pressure on them.
Needed that boost.
Gibby does have his ult already.
Yeah, if we look at ult economy really quick, we have Gibby's ult ready, and that is it for now, but they are building up ult really fast here. Getting rid of Gibby is huge and allows them to grab Heart again.
We do have Nafam on the Hawkeye now as well.
Unfortunately, Invisible Woman is really hard to deal with in the back and picks off Communist. Does look like we are getting some picks back and forth on both sides here.
It is currently a 5v5 situation here, so it is winnable on both ends.
We've got the thing throwing haymakers, and it looks like the cart is up now. Octuyak is a little stuck in there. If they just turn and see him. Big ult by Thing.
Snicks is creating a lot of pressure on that back line. He actually pulls the rocket. He actually almost got Rocket and Invisible Woman in the back there for a second. Unfortunately, they did keep each other alive, so looks like it might be a team wipe here on Nightmare.
Much better.
Yeah, I think if they're gonna be playing Hulk, they need to be playing one of those team ups. I think without those team ups, Hulk just isn't that viable right now.
I do unfortunately agree with that statement. Hulk is, he relies too much on, honestly, the team ups in my opinion. He's not a good tank in a lot of situations and scenarios.
Yeah, his health pool is massive, but
I've got your back.
if the enemy team just isn't making mistakes, then closing those gaps is really, really tricky.
We do have Nafam on the Namor now, but he
You
unfortunately
turned against your
falls,
people,
and it is
Namor,
another team wipe
and you paid the price.
from Brooklyn there. They are doing really well here. 2B does hear the Emma up to the right of them though. He does go in for the 1v1.
I was fine, but thank you.
Yeah, it looks like they're staying staggered right now instead of just
Grouping up.
grouping up and calmly figuring out who to target. They did kill Octuyak. That is an excellent pick here. Hopefully that allows them to take point. I do want to see just how quickly Brooklyn is able to clear them off of point. They're in overtime, so Nightmare can't leave point.
Coming in with the strange portal here. Snyx does try to stop him from getting that strange portal, but it does not work, unfortunately.
The current score is
Yeah, honestly,
0
if I were to recommend
to
anything, I would
0.
recommend Communist play
Time
Penny
to
since
switch
now
things
they're on
up,
defense.
including which side you're
Penny
on.
could do really well actually within this first
You'll need a
this
top-notch
first
team to win
checkpoint.
this
There
one.
are a lot of good areas for the Penny mines, and I do think it might be actually a little helpful.
Yeah, we already know that Snyx plays Venom well. So if we have Penny Venom, then pretty much any other tank is a good third tank. And defense is really where triple tanks shines the most.
We do have Snyx and the Moon Knight here now. It looks like Nightmare is switching up a few things. Switching up their tanks and their DPS players. We should see what Kami is going to be playing here.
It looks
30
like
seconds
Kami
before you
is going to be
attack.
playing
Get ready.
Magneto. Oh, he's playing Cap. Okay, so he's playing one of the heroes that he mained for a very long time.
Nightmare is
Cap
going
is
for a triple healer and triple tank here. I think this is going to be quite interesting.
I'm excited.
that case,
I'm excited to see
we'll just
triple
have
tank,
to
triple
wait and
healer.
The battle starts in 5, 4,
Cap is a wonderful dive
3,
tank. Honestly, a
2,
bit more of a DPS.
Enemy ahead. Prepare to engage.
It does look like Octayak is going to also play Cap. Early dive by Communist and gets countered out by Wolverine. There is a health pack right there. If Nightmare can control that health pack, then they have a solid chance of winning. Nice body block from Communist, helping get that kill.
Actually, just going for the Cap here. Gibby's on Venom.
Feeling fantastic.
That Emma grab is huge though, and kills Communist. And that is going to cause them to start fold a little.
Uninvited guest. I was fine.
Watching Gibby on Venom, just got a pick. And it looks like they're gonna get that extra pick as well, getting rid of that healer.
Your powers are mine.
No worries.
Excellent ult by Gibby. Getting a triple quad.
And you have the Venom and the thing in the back line here. It looks like the healers are not really getting any peel right now.
Yeah, it's really hard because Gibby is just all over the place as Venom. His control of that web was really, really excellent to see.
Cannot stop us.
Brooklyn is
And
going
that
to
is
take
point.
this
Final score.
map.
1,
For
2,
Mount
0.
So that is now 2-0 in favor of Brooklyn. But they did swap at the end, so they were also triple tank as well. And they ran the Wolverine counter immediately.
I'm actually going to double check something because I thought that was kind of a little suspicious that they switched to the Wolverine so fast. So I kind of want to make sure that they're not. The stream delay did not update. So let me restart that for some ungodly reason, even though I hit apply.
Happens to the best of us.
I just love when settings don't stay.